Hey y'all, I'm Paige. If you haven't seen the previous ones, still Paige. If you have seen the previous ones, in this video we're going to be talking about week 5. Super fun lesson topic because space gets everyone going. So this is 5th grade fall lesson plans week 5. Space is the topic. It's really too bad that we don't have multiple weeks on space because they rave about this one. They love it. This is a really great time to potentially introduce a questions box because I guarantee you that your students will have a lot of questions about space. It's just something that they're really interested in as a unit. And honestly, every 5th grade TA I've talked to for the past 2 years has agreed with me. Like, it's just, they have so many questions, and a lot of them are very detailed, in-depth thought processing questions, which is really impressive. Some I could never even answer, so it's a questions box is a great method if you notice that your kids are asking a lot of questions, because it guarantees that you'll get around to them, but not necessarily during your teaching time. So it's basically just a box, and your teacher can use it during their normal class, or it can just be something you bring out during science. And if your students have a question on it, it helps to have like index cards or sticky notes or whatever, small slips of paper you can rip, and have like a pile of them or pass them out to each table at the beginning of the day. And then if they have questions, they can write them down, and you can just, if they're raising their hand, you can just be like, is it important, or can it go in the questions box? And then they can put it in the box, and it's a way for, if you have extra time in the successive weeks, to go back to your box and answer those old questions. And it helps with repetition and introducing them or reintroducing them to the topics, because sometimes they have forgotten even though they haven't. It just takes like a little bit of discussing. So it's a great way to refresh their minds and also answer all their questions. So would recommend, if you haven't already, to introduce it this week, because the questions take up so much time during this one, because they love it. So for this unit, you're talking about space, mainly rotation and revolution, and what that means. And it kind of pertains to years versus days versus, night and day, and the position of the earth and the sun and the moon, kind of deal. So make sure you familiarize yourself with that pattern, as always. And then it helps to start with a video. This is usually how I would do this one. It helps to start with a video. Up to you. I would usually choose one that was like, it started big and then went small. So, it started with like everything that's out there, and then focused on our one galaxy, and then on the planets, and then focusing on the earth. And like, you can even discuss how like that goes into atmosphere. Like, they're all related. That's why we do them in this order. So make sure that you're bringing up old content that that they know, to make sure that they're alert and awake and paying attention. And then I would do a little active exercise prior to the cutout activity that the instructions call for. This is not in the instructions, but if you want to use it, please do, because a previous 5th grade TA actually taught me this, and I've done it the last 2 years that I've taught this lesson. So you have them all stand up. My kids loved moving around, so it was a great time to do this. You make a big circle in the back, like all together. One person is the sun, and everyone else are planets, or you can say that they're all Earth. And so one person's standing in the middle of the giant circle, and then everyone just starts making a circle around them. So they're walking one in front of the other in a slow circle. And this is, I guess it's a revolution. Off the top of my head, it's a revolution when they go all the way around. And then you have them individually spinning. So like, as a person, you're spinning around, but you're also moving. So that's rotating around yourself and also revolving around the sun. And because this will get into, your terms. So rotation is around the axis that is yourself, and then revolution is around another object. So I'm thinking about it in my head. It might be the opposite, and the earth is the person in the middle, because the sun moves around you. Whatever, you get the idea. It's basically to introduce rotation and revolution at the same time, and it's really helpful because then they get the idea, acting it out. And then you'll have them sit down, and the worksheets tell them everything to do. They're going to be cutting out the 3 different circles that are the moon, the sun, and the earth, and then they're going to be fastening them with the little metal fasteners, and then they should be able to rotate and revolve around one another. Now that I said that, I think it is the Earth that's in the middle and the sun that's around. No, sorry, it's definitely the sun that's in the middle and the Earth that's around, because then the moon goes around the Earth. Yep. Okay, so scratch what I said about the confusing part. It's the person in the middle is the sun, and the Earth is moving around the sun, which makes a day. One revolution is a day. And then 365 times around the sun is obviously a year. Oh, no. A rotation is a day, and then a whole revolution is a year. Thank you. Obviously, I don't remember. But, so yeah, do that little fun activity. And then the cutout is very self-explanatory. Have them color it. A lot of them asked me if like they had to be the right colors, and I would always say no, like let them be creative. They would make like purple moons and stuff just because it was fun. So use it as, it's another crafty activity, a lot of crafts in a row before we get to actual experiments. But and then you'll have your own model that you can show them, and you can show like moon phases with the little flashlight. It's all explained in the instructions. Honestly, there's no other tips other than making sure you are ready for the amount of questions you're going to get, and I would recommend doing some kind of movement activity because it's just a piece of paper in this one, so get them more involved.